drive that home in the sense that you even get a pop-up on your screen. And it says, you are about to go through the portal and you may not be able to immediately return. Do you still wish to go? And you have to click yes to go through. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, damn, they be serious about this shit, yo.
Well, in a Q&A that they did, a live Q&A, which, that's funny. But
I need to see that. I haven't watched that yet.
It's actually pretty good. They don't respond to the chat at all.
I didn't think they would because they'd be like, why is Chris Metzen such a faggot? Well, he's, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, no. So they didn't respond to the chat. But they did say that the original concept they had was that you'd go over to Draenor and, like, you wouldn't have a way back. Like, they were going to keep you in Draenor the entire expansion. And that was the original plan. And then they said, like, that changed because they realized that was not viable. Like, even if they gave you all the amenities like transmog and auction house and bank in Draenor, like, people would still be pissed that they couldn't go back to Stormwind or Orgrimmar. Yeah. So they, they changed that. So now it's more like, oh, well, you just get a portal and you can just, like, pop back and forth whenever you want. But the original plan was they were going to keep you there the entire expansion and then, like, really make coming back to Azeroth special at the end of it.
See, I think they should have done that. I really do. I mean, okay, here's my thing. And I think when we discussed this the other day, you were kind of like, oh my God, that was crazy that they would even consider that. Mm-hmm. But think about it for the same reasons that we're happy that they're not allowing flying.
No, I get that. That it would give you a sense of exploration, but I think cutting people off from the main world, especially the main capitals, for too long would be a potential mistake.
Like, maybe I'm not, and I don't mean like the entire expansion. I mean maybe like a patch or two. Like, 6.1. Until 6.1 we're stuck in Draenor.
Or maybe have it like Khadgar, because Khadgar is the one making all these portals.
Right.
Maybe have Khadgar be like, I can make a portal, because it's not just time travel, it's like apparently alternate timeline jumping, so you'd be like, I can get a portal back to Azeroth, but it's gonna take a while, so, you can go back to, I could make one portal to Azeroth like a week. And so you can go back like once a week or something, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is, I can see where people would not want it, and where it would even inconvenience me, like, because you and I like to go run the old content and shit like that.
Yeah, how are we not going to get your Hammer of the Naru if we're stuck on Draenor?
I know, right? Then I can, my God, I'd just be fucked in a different location. But they're introducing a new model of that. It's going to be back in game, so.
Well, it's still in game, but.
Well, yeah, but there's an updated model for Draenor that you showed me.
Yeah, which means...
I tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get that new model, and then I'm going to end up getting the one out of...
You're going to get the new model,
Slayer.
But, like, the new model is going to be one that you get for, like, delivering pie to someone or something.
Probably.
It'll be like a bitch quest reward.
But I think it would have been really cool to add that extra bit of immersion to the storyline. If they had just delayed going back in for a bit, and and that's also why they have the auction house and all this other shit in your garrison that you can use. Mm-hmm. And that's probably a holdover from that. So I think, I don't think that would be such a bad idea, a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people would have bitched, oh my God, I'm unsubscribing and all this other shit. I don't think it'd be that bad. I think it'd be kind of cool to at least try it for a few weeks.
Yeah, I just don't, like, at the end of the day, I just don't see it as viable. Like, too many people would have complained. Too many people, like you said, it would have made it impossible for people to run older content on their high-level tunes. It would have been, I think it would have, I think it's a cool idea, definitely, but I think it would have caused more problems than it would have solved, or it would have caused more problems that would have outweighed the benefits that it brought. Like, I think it's just easier to put the portals there that are easily accessible and be like, if you want to go back, you can go back easily enough. But hey, you know what? If you want to do this whole stuck on Draenor thing, then you can just avoid the portals if you want to. So, like, I don't know. That's just kind of the feeling I got from it. Like, I don't think it would have been viable.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I think it would have been cool to at least try it. But yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Just the amount of bitching probably would have made them be like, okay, fine. Look, here's your fucking portal. At the very least, though, make getting back feel important. Have some kind of in-game thing where, you know, add some quest after your initial shit at the Dark Portal. You know, Khadgar says, hey, you know, it turns out there may actually be a way we can get back and be able to bring in more forces or some shit. And then, you know, you go and do this quest line. Not anything necessarily all that long or engage or, you know, difficult. Just something that feels really immersive and very weighty that you get to go do to get that portal back.
Mm-hmm. Now, you haven't gotten to Garrisons yet, but you still had something you wanted to say on the topic of Garrison. So this is in true WoW player fashion, because he's not waiting to play it like a sheeple.
No, I'm not sheeple. And it's not so much me saying, oh my god, this is horrible, they're fucking it up, they're doing it wrong. I'm saying I have a concern. Mm-hmm. And that concern is that potentially they're making the garrisons a bit too integral to your progression experience in the game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be those players, and this is almost the same thing, kind of like what you're saying about the not having the portal back. And I'm just being a hypocrite and choosing this on a different gripe. But it feels like they're making it too much of something that you have to do, instead of something that's just cool that you can do that's fun.
Yeah. I kind of get that. I get that, but at the same time, I'm really not surprised because
wind physics.
Yeah, wind physics, basically. I mean, you look at they introduced wind physics in Mists of Pandaria, and how many boss fights did they integrate that into? I mean, goddamn,
all of them.
I don't think it was in the Garrosh one. I don't think the wind physics was in Garrosh, but they introduced it pretty much everywhere else. So, you know, Blizzard gets a new toy, and they want to really drive home how awesome it is, so they're going to make you use it all the time. And I think that's what we see here. And I'm not surprised at all, because, again, in that Q&A, they mentioned that, you know, player housing, which is kind of what garrisons are, right. Player housing is something that every other MMO has had. WoW has always been the outlier in that it never had it. And they said that when they did it, they didn't want to just do what everyone else had done, and that they wanted to make it feel unique, and they wanted to make it feel special and necessary. So that's kind of what's happening here. And they introduced player housing, and in their mind, the way to make player housing work is to make it essential to the leveling process. And so I'm not surprised that it feels that way at all.
I'm not either. I just really would have wished that they had done it a bit differently. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, if you make it compelling enough, people will do it anyways because they want to, not because they have to. Mm-hmm. And this is also for the hardcore players, the hardcore raiders and shit, of which, for the record, Mike and I are not. But I can get where they're coming from when they say, hey, you know, this is extra shit that I've got to do to stay competitive, and this takes a lot of time out of my nights to do this, just to be able to raid on the nights when I'm not doing this shit. I almost kind of feel like it could potentially be, and I'm not saying it is, I'm saying it has the potential to be another issue like World of Daily Craft at the beginning of Pandaria.
Well, they said that they wanted to avoid that. They kind of admitted that all the daily quests at the end of Pandaria were a mistake. And they were trying to find ways to kind of do that same kind of thing without making it feel repetitive, and that this is going to play into that. I guess my big concern is that as soon as Draenor is done, your garrison's going to be pointless.
Yeah, it is, and Blizzard's already said that.
Like, when Draenor's over, your garrison, it's not going to factor into anything at all. And that's kind of what bugs me, because the idea of player housing is customization. So, basically you've got a situation whereby customization, you're trying to get players to engage in customization, and then they will, and they're going to put a lot of time into customizing their garrison, they're going to get real proud of it, and then it's going to be pointless. And I don't know if that's the best idea. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Blizzard overthought the problem. And Blizzard's whole, we didn't want to be like every other MMO and do player housing like everyone else. Like, shut the fuck up and just do player housing like everyone wanted it. Like, it seems that they made the problem, they saw a problem that wasn't really there, and in trying to address it, they created a new problem, which is they wanted to make player housing feel essential to the questing content, but they didn't realize that means that when that questing content becomes outdated, so does the player housing. And I honestly think long term it would have been a better choice to just fucking have standard player housing, or maybe put your garrison in like the old world in Azeroth, and have it be an option where, like, if you want to do the garrison stuff, you can devote the time to do it, but it wouldn't affect your leveling path on Draenor.
Yeah, and that would be pretty cool if they had done that. I wish they would have. I still think that they might at some point. What they've said was, this is going to be like the farm on Pandaria, in the sense that
no one's going to care after it's over.
Right, but also in the sense that they're going to take what they learned from this and they're going to expand on it in the next expansion. So, we don't know that this won't actually eventually happen.
Yes. I know, but I don't know. It seems problematic to me to give players this customizable sandbox of a feature like garrisons, and then say, well, it's going to be completely useless as soon as we're done with Draenor. And that's going to come sooner than you think, because they've been talking a lot about getting expansions out quicker and sooner, so it would not surprise me if Draenor has a shorter shelf life than Pandaria or Cataclysm had. And if that's the case, I don't know, man. You're asking people to really invest in this idea of customization, and then you're going to basically render it obsolete. And the only end game I see where this works is if there is going to eventually be some sort of customizable player housing option in the old world. And that's why you put it in the old world, because the old world never kind of goes out of date. Like, they always add new things for expansions, but everyone always comes back to the old world. That's always where everyone's kind of bases themselves out of. So, if the end result is we're going to take what we learned in the farm, and we're going to take what we learned in the garrison, and we're going to give you proper player housing after Draenor in the old world that's never really going to become obsolete or outdated, then I'm fine with it. But it kind of seems like a shitty move to be like, you could customize your garrison and do all this neat stuff, and oh, by the way, it's useless.
Yeah, I get it. And I agree with you to a point. In fact, I do agree with you completely. I'm just kind of not as arsed to be upset about it, I guess, besides the fact that, would I rather them have permanent, actual, personal, or guild hall